Welcome to the third video of this course, Language and Writing. We have told that writing is the process of encoding our thoughts, our feelings, our information or concepts into graphic symbols. Another encoding process is speaking. In speaking, you're encoding your ideas, thoughts, feelings, and concepts into sound symbols. There are a few differences between written language and spoken language. In this video, we are going to look at the differences. Compared to spoken language, written language is more formal and spoken language is less formal. When you write something, actually, you have to use complete sentence formats. But that is not necessary in the case of spoken language. If you ask a question to a person, are you tired? In written format, you have to use the complete sentence, are you tired? But when you ask a person, are you tired? By speaking to him, you can just ask, tired? So the style of presentation will convey whether it is a question or whether it is a statement. So this is something important. You may be able to make use of some informal words and language versions in written format too, when you're writing fictional stories. Then when you're using some dialogues in the stories, then you may have to use, or you can use informal words and sentences. But when you're conveying your ideas, information, message, and such things, you have to make use of complete sentences. You have to make use of formal language. Different languages have got different versions, different dialects, different slangs. But when you write in a particular language, you have to make use of the formal language. Then in written language, you can use complicated and complex sentences. But in spoken language, you can only use simpler and shorter sentences. See, when you write something and when the reader gets what you have written, he has got enough time for decoding. I have told you that you're encoding when you're writing, and the reader will be decoding what you have encoded into words and sentences. So when we read something, we have got enough time, enough span of time for decoding or understanding what the writer has tried to convey. So you can use longer sentences, which compound and complex sentences with a variety of clauses in a particular sentence. But when you speak, the listener haven't got that much time to decode. When you're reading, you can go back. You can go back to the first part of the sentence to confirm whether you have encoded or not. Sorry, whether you have decoded or not. But when a person is speaking, you have to catch the words and sentences on the spot. Once he has spoken, it's over. You cannot go back. So when you're speaking, you can use shorter and simpler sentences. Then only your receiver will be able to catch what you want to convey. And written language is more effective, while spoken language is less effective. This I tell in the case of explanation. Okay, when you speak to a person, you can only tell some points, some important points. You cannot explain what you are telling him. Even if you are explaining, you can explain only in one or two sentences. But when you are writing something, you can explain each and every point in an elaborated manner. So itself, students often demand or request their teachers for giving notes. Because if you have to write an essay, then you have to read more and more. So this is what is happening there. See, if you're calling your friend on mobile phone, on his mobile number, sometimes you may be able to ask some questions and answer some questions. You will be able to give some important points. But when you write a letter to your friend, you can explain each and every aspect. So that's again the it's a difference between written language and spoken language. In written language, grammar is important. In spoken language, you cannot tell grammar is not important, but grammar is less important. When you write something, you have to make use of the complete structure. You have to make use of accurate structure. You have to make use of accurate grammatical items. You have to make use of correct preposition. You have to make use of correct auxiliary verb. But at times, when you speak, these are not important. For example, when you write, you have to ask, have you written? But when you ask by speaking, you can just ask written. So this is what is happening there. Grammar is important in the case of, much important in the case of written language, but grammar is less important in the case of spoken language. And written language has got typographical features, full stop, colon, comma, semicolon, so and so. And in spoken language, you cannot see this one. If you tell, yesterday I went there, full stop. I saw my mother, comma, father, comma, sister. You cannot tell so. This is an advantage in the case of written language. But when you speak, you should use pauses and gaps to show that these items are there. You cannot tell full stop, comma, colon. So this is also a difference between written and spoken languages. And you may add more points. These are some differences I have collected. Now I feel that you have got a clear-cut idea on about the difference between written language and spoken language. Till the next video, have a nice hours and minutes. Thank you.